G'day everybody, and I have a contradiction again for today because we have number 19 and 20, and I want to put these two together. And if I can get the right list here, we've got 439 of these contradictions that I'm going through one a week. And well, today I want to go through two because I feel like they're the same question, just in a different way. But I think there is a question here that we need to answer. You know, how old was this king and how old was he when he started to reign? This is a great question. My name is Craig and this is Morning Star Quest, where we are journeying through the Bible one question at a time. And in this list, we are doing one contradiction at a time. Now, with this contradiction, let's just start with the first one. And my main question is why is this contradiction stopping people from reading the Bible or believing the Bible? And I know this next one, number 20, this one is a very hot topic because there are quite a few people going, this king says, I'll get into it in a sec, but basically they say that this king has two different ages of when he began to reign, and it's just proving the Bible is flawed. Now, let's start with number 19 here. When did Ahaziah, have I pronounced that right, Cosmo? Ahaziah began to reign. And this is Cosmo, my little friend, who just helps me through everything.
Hey, Greg, you've got it right with Ahaziah. So, when did Ahaziah begin to reign? Well, 2 Kings 8:25 mentions it was in the 12th year of Joram, king of Israel. But then 2 Kings 9:29 says it was in the 11th year of Joram. This kind of discrepancy can be perplexing, but it opens up an interesting discussion about ancient record keeping. Now, ready to dive into the next one?
Yeah, no. Well, let's get into this. So one says 12 years of... Now, let's just clarify. It's not saying that the King Ahaziah, I still can't say it, Ahaziah, it's not saying that he was 12 or 11 or whatever, but it's talking about the 11th or 12th reign of... Now, we're getting confused with the northern and the southern parts of Jerusalem, Israel at the time. Can you just explain that in one sentence?
Sure. It's referring to the years of reign of Joram, king of Israel, in the northern kingdom, during which Ahaziah began to reign as king of Judah in the southern kingdom.
Right. Okay. Thank you. So really it's just trying to map when this King Ahaziah started to reign, and they're using King Joram in the northern kingdom as a map to know when it started. Now, in the 12th year of Joram, a year son of Ahab, king of Israel, which is the north, in the 12th year. But in the second one, obviously it's saying in the 11th year of King Joram, son of Ahab. So it's the same person. We can't say that it's a different person. That it's a different person. So why would there be a discrepancy? Because I opened my Bible up. It's on the same page. Like the beginning here, it's 12, and by the end, it's 11. So we need to answer this one.
Absolutely. It's a valid question. One possible reason for this discrepancy could be differences in counting regnal years. Sometimes ancient cultures counted part of a year as a full year, or they had different starting points for the regnal year. Another factor might be copying errors over centuries. While these don't fully explain the discrepancy, they offer some context for how such differences could arise.
But there's also with Second Kings,
complexities.
With Second Kings, like we got the beginning of this page and the end, even this is a compilation of different sources. Second Kings is taken from different sources. So would you say that that would contribute to some of this issue?
Yes, definitely. The book of Second Kings is known to be a compilation from various sources, including royal annals, prophetic writings, and historical records. When different sources are woven together, variations in details like dates can emerge, especially if the sources used different methods for recording events.
And
This
also,
could contribute to the discrepancy.
and also,
Yes,
there
go ahead. What's on your mind? Looks like you're building up to something. What's the next piece of the puzzle?
and also there is this issue with the in the Bible, the way they write numbers. Numbers is not as easy. Like in English, we've got 1, you add 2, you get 3. But in biblical numbers, in the original language, they write the numbers as letters, and it gets very confusing, doesn't it?
Exactly. Biblical Hebrew used letters to represent numbers, which can indeed lead to confusion. For instance, the Hebrew letters for 11 and 12 are not similar, but other numbers could look alike, especially if written hastily. This system, combined with the wear and tear of ancient manuscripts, might result in copyist errors or discrepancies in the text. It's
And
another
this
layer of complexity when in
and this is where
and this could certainly
and this is where I want to go to the next part. So number 20
this is
is
where those discrepancies can come into play, right? The way numbers were written. Got
and
it. Moving on to number 20. What's the next? And number 20 is about Ahaziah's age when he began to reign, right? In
yes.
2 Kings
Now,
8:26.
I want to just keep talking until you stop. There we go. And how old was Ahaziah when he began to reign? So we've mapped on how old or whatever the other king was. Now we're going to map how Ahaziah, I think I got it right, began to reign. So with this one here, I find this one even more interesting because what have we got here? We've got 2 Kings 8:26. So yeah, can you just go over that one for us? And that's the King James version if you can.
Sure. In the King James Version, 2 Kings 8:26 says, 22 years old was Ahaziah when he began to reign, and he reigned 1 year in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Athaliah, the daughter of Omri, king of Israel. So here, it clearly states that Ahaziah was 22 years old when he began his reign.
All
Now,
right, so
how does that compare to 2
can you go through with 2 Chronicles 22 2? So can you just go through that one?
Certainly. In the King James Version, 2 Chronicles 22:2 reads, 42 years old was Ahaziah when he began to reign, and he reigned 1 year in Jerusalem. His mother's name also was Athaliah, the daughter of Omri. Here, it states that Ahaziah was 42 years old, which is quite different from the 22 years mentioned in 2 Kings.
And here
This
again,
discrepancy
we need
is what makes this
and here again, we need to really answer this because it is confusing. Now, when it comes to numbers with regards to, and I'll just come here, with regards to 22 and 42, you can see here in the red, now normally it's not red, but that little tick is the only difference between 22 and 42. So over time, it is very easy to see that these two numbers could be confused. Where I get with the last one we did with Ahaziah's, when did he begin to reign, with 11 and 12, this wasn't an issue. There are obviously other things. But with this one, it is just down to having The numbers are so close that if you're scribing over thousands of years, someone's got to miss this or make it, or, whatever. And can I just make a point that when it comes to this one, can you just go over with regards to, now I've lost it now. No, I don't have it.
No worries, Craig. You're right. The closeness of the numbers 22 and 42 in Hebrew could easily lead to confusion over centuries of copying. If you remember your point or want to dive deeper into another aspect, just let me know.
Yes, I do remember. Now, with regards to this, now in the ESV, now in like I just showed you before, King James, it says 42 years. Whereas we go here into ESV, it says 22. So it's already corrected itself. So why is this an issue? It's really not. People are making it an issue, and it's really not. And I missed the point again. Oh, yes. Can you just go over, in context of the other verses in the Bible, is there any evidence for which one of these two is correct?
Absolutely. In the broader context of the Bible, there's more support for Ahaziah being 22 when he began to reign. For example, 2 Kings 8:17 says Ahaziah's father Jehoram reigned for 8 years and was 32 when he began his reign, making him 40 when he died. If Ahaziah was truly 42 when he began to reign, it would mean he was older than his father, which is highly unlikely. This lends more credibility to the 22 years mentioned in 2 Kings and some translations of 2 Chronicles. It appears that the ESV and other modern translations have opted for the more contextually consistent number.
Yeah, and the thing I find really, really interesting is that people are making this a big thing, and there's so many videos online with this one thing. Yet it's so simple. And okay, the first one, 11 years, 12 years, there is a little bit of a discrepancy, but they're easily solved. Or at the end of the day, I think sometimes when people, especially when you get down to hundreds of years, and you've got these documents and there's a mistake in there, it doesn't make, what I'm trying to say is they would see this as such a special document that even though there's a mistake there, they're not going to change anything. They're from different sources, 11 or 12, depends on how you see the numbers and how your starting point. It really depends on a whole heap of factors, but it doesn't change the fact. And this might be the numbers different. Most of the time, these numbers are they're different because they're just tricky numbers in the original language. But is it going to change your faith? No, because the whole story of the Bible is not these kings. It's got nothing to do with these kings. It's about Jesus. And the Old Testament is talking about Jesus throughout the whole Old Testament. And the promise is fulfilled in the New Testament with him dying on the cross and being raised for us. That is the promise. That is everything. The problem with the kings is they were fallible. They were horrible. That we needed a savior. And of course, that is Jesus. So we've got so many more of these to do, and we're up to number 20. So we've got years to go. So go do something awesome for God. Click on another one of those, because we've got so many more, and these are more like Bible studies because, well, at the end of the day, I'm enjoying this. Atheists have obviously not done their homework. Go do something awesome for God. Go do something awesome for God, and I'll catch you in the next one.